Hi, my name is Ken Joy. I'm chairman of the B. Frank Joy Company. This year marks the 98th year of our existence, and over the years we've had core principles that we've adhered to that have enabled us to make it for 98 years. The first one is, and most important, is integrity always. I think it sort of speaks for itself, but you don't make it 98 years without having integrity with your customers and, as importantly, with your employees. Secondly, the other thing that's enabled us to make it this long is we have our second core principle is continuous improvement. Over the years, we've had a number of programs where we've tried to formalize our how we improve our work processes and products. This year, 2014, we're installing something that we're really excited about. It's called Lean, and it's also called Kaizen. We will be implementing this. It's a bottom-up driven program to improve our processes by eliminating roadblocks and eliminating waste to become an overall more efficient company, enabling us, hopefully, to make it another 98 years, although I don't think I'll probably see that. Welcome. Let's give it a really good shot. When you join the company, or if you're already here, do your best every day, and we're going to help you come up with methods to make your life simpler and by reducing waste and wasted time for you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa Kaler. I'm President and CEO of B. Frank Joy Company. You're about to learn about Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is a waste elimination, cost reduction, quality program. The reason it's so important to us is we need to eliminate waste at all cost to improve our opportunities at the bid table, to win more work, so the company's more successful. And with the company more successful, each employee at B. Frank Joy Company will have a greater opportunity for advancement, and there's the dollars available to invest not only in our people, but in our equipment and in our strategic growth. We thank you for your time. Listen carefully and look for the seconds. Look to save a second that'll turn into a minute, that'll turn into an hour. Each second counts. Thank you.
Okay, so we're all in agreement that we don't want to see anybody get hurt. You don't want to get hurt. So that's why we got to set our workers' comp, our policy, our accident to zero. That should be our goal. Nobody getting hurt, because nobody wants to. You don't want to see anybody get injured. So we need to work on that. So with our safety awareness thing this morning, it not only pertains to work, it pertains to your life. You take a lot of these things in and out of the business, with your job. So we have a short video here today, only about a minute, but I appreciate everybody pay attention to this video, and it's powerful. Okay, as you see that, not paying attention when you're driving, anytime in your personal vehicle or in a company vehicle. And can anybody tell me our cell phone, mobile use policy in a Joy Company vehicle while you're driving?
Do not use.
Right, we're not allowed, thank you. No, you're not allowed to use them. You know, no calls, you don't take calls, you don't text, we don't use our mobile devices. We pull over when it's safe to pull over and then respond to that text or that phone call. Or we let the passenger in the vehicle take care of that communication while you're driving, so you keep your eye on the road. Appreciate that. Great way to start the day is, through a little bit of safety awareness. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for being here today. I know for sure that each one of you had to make sacrifices to be here today, and we really appreciate it. I have to tell you, I'm very charged up that we've got all of you folks here today dedicating your time and contributions to our company. It means a lot to us, it means a lot to me, and we thank you guys for giving us your time today. So the first question I want to talk to you all about is, why are we here today? Move this back a little. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Where's Miley? Miley, don't answer these questions. You answered them all last time. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. What's the one thing that we deal with, the biggest stress or threat to our business every day? Oh boy, you guys got to wake up. What? Safety is one of them. Competition. Number one challenge. Carrie said safety. What else do we have to compete on?
Price.
Price. What else?
Quality.
Production.
Production. One more big one. What kind of work do our customers want us to do for them?
Quality.
Quality. We're going to focus on price. So, in order to beat the competition, what do we have to do at the bid table? How do we win? How do we beat the competition? We're our estimators. They live this every day. We got to be low. And in order to have the lowest price, what do we have to do? How do we have the lowest price?
Quality.
Have good production,
Quality.
quality, you have to have good quality,
Efficiency.
no rework. But if at the bid table, when those estimators are
Shop
putting
around.
that bid tag together, what do we have to have that's better than our competitors? All of those things that you said.
Safety.
People, we have to be safe.
Efficient.
The what?
Efficient. Efficiency.
Efficiencies.
Shop around.
How do we beat them though? We beat them because not only do we have the lowest price,
Best workers.
we have the lowest cost.
Well, we know that ain't right.
Well, oftentimes we don't. A lot of times we don't, and this is where we can tell how we're doing with the competition. Are we winning all the work out there?
No.
No. Do we want to win all the work out there? Well, sometimes we actually don't. We don't bid those jobs. The ones we go after, we want to win. And if we do that, we have lots of work. I know that's not very neat. But these are the kinds of stresses that our business is under every single day. It starts right here, and you guys got the top four right out of the gate. We're competing on quality all the time. Price, every single job we bid is on price. Safety, production. It's a tough market space that we work in. Extremely competitive. So what are we going to do about this? Well, we're here today. We're here today. We're going to talk about this block right here. We're going to focus on how we can get to the lowest cost. So, how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we're going to learn today how to eliminate waste, excess time, and cost, so we can produce at the lowest price. So we're going to learn, and for most of us, we're going to relearn. That's really important. We got to open our minds today. We're going to relearn some things about how to do that. We're going to learn together. Today is about equipping all of you with the knowledge and the tools to accomplish this. And I want to say something about that. This isn't broken. We're doing well. We believe that all of our crews are doing a very good job in terms of safety, production, low cost, price. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is, can we do better? So today we're going to roll out 2 initiatives that'll help us win more work, because that's what this is all about, and protect our business. The first initiative is called Lean Six Sigma, and Denny and Sharon are going to lead us through the training around Lean Six Sigma. You're going to learn what that means. The second initiative is a new software that we're going to implement this year in the company in the 3rd and 4th quarter. It's called Mobile Field Manager. It's a productivity software, and Sharon's going to briefly talk about that. So we have 2 significant initiatives that we want to share with you all today that are going to help drive this process. But let me talk about roles. So everybody's role here today is to listen, to challenge, to contribute, to learn. Let's make this fun. Let's make it interactive. We have so much brain power in this room. And if you don't know, we should talk about this real quick. How much do you think this meeting costs our company to hold this meeting with each one of you here today? How much do you think just the meeting itself costs? $5 grand? Nope.
20.
Actually, what's the number? 18. 16. $16,000 to have you all here today. What do you think it costs us when you guys aren't out on the street today? How many of you are working Saturdays? Raise your hands. What do you think it costs us if we lose a day of revenue?
25 grand.
More? Another guess?
100.
Somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 if we're not working. This is costing us almost $80,000. Now, we don't have every single crew working on a Saturdays, but if you take 80, we lose $40,000 by being here today, plus we're paying 20. We're making a huge investment in this training today to help all of you help us get better here. So we're all here to listen, to learn, to have some fun, to contribute. For everybody other than the leadership team, and I tried to get us all in the back, but we didn't get Joey back there. But for all of you other than the leadership team, this meeting is for you today. And you guys are going to lead the meeting. We're going to sit in the back. We're going to be very quiet. We're here if you need us. We're going to answer questions if we get stuck on anything. You guys are going to lead this meeting today. It's going to be hard for us, right? It's going to be very hard for us to keep our mouths shut, but we're going to do it. And why do you think that is? Why do you think it's important that you guys lead the discussion today?
Because they're the ones with the field knowledge. They're on the front lines with the ideas, organically growing the thoughts of what's important for the company.
So did you all hear that? She said, you guys are on the front lines. You guys are the ones who are growing the company. You guys are the ones who know what's going on out there. It's 100% correct. How many problems do you have on a job on any given day? How many little roadblocks and nuisances and problems and challenges do you guys face out on your job, on your construction sites every day?
Lots.
Lots. Too many. That's what we're here to talk about. So this is good. We can't help from the office. You guys on the front lines have to deal with those problems, and we're going to empower you guys and train you guys on a new way to think about this. Or maybe it's not so new, but we're going to take any of the thinking that we have and make it better. But it's critical that you all understand that you're leading this meeting today. Sharon's your tour guide. She's going to help. Denny Norman is our tour guide. He's going to help. But it's critical that you understand that we want you guys to make this go today. Lastly, or not lastly, I guess, almost lastly, change. So, how many people love change, feel great about change, get you excited to come in and change something? Raise your hands. How many of you feel that way? Raise your hands. Couple. Thank you all for being honest.
How about the rest of you?
Yeah.
We don't have an opinion.
So, we understand. We understand that change can be scary, change can be fearful, but let me just say that, first of all, you're going to learn today that change can be helpful. A lot of people think that change is, oh my gosh, they're changing something, I'm going to have to do more, I'm going to have to work harder, it's going to just be worse for me. That's a lot of how people think about change. None of the above is true. You're going to learn today that change can be positive, it should be positive, and that the right kind of change will make your jobs easier. That's what we're looking for here. Because if it's harder out there for you, is it taking longer? And is that helping us here? Absolutely not. The whole point is to make it easier. And so we're going to learn a lot today about change and how to make change and how to make it easier and how to make your lives easier on your job, not harder. So we have to be careful. If we accept the status quo, if we don't change, our business is doomed. What are these guys doing? Are they sitting around and not working smarter or faster? Everybody knows who the competition is. Think about it. What's Fort Myer doing? What's Anchor doing? What's Hinkle doing? Are they working smarter and faster? Probably not as safe. Agreed. We got to work faster than them. We got to figure out how to do it quicker, smarter, faster than them. Because they're the ones who are going to beat us at the big time. So that's what today is about. Okay, questions? Okay, this is going to take time. You're going to learn something new, something different. It's going to take time. We are extremely committed. Me, as the CEO of the company, our leadership team, we're extremely committed to this. This isn't going to go away, but it's going to take time. So we're starting, everything you read about Lean Six Sigma says it's a journey. And the reason it's a journey is because it's something that you have to learn and adapt to. Today's the first day. I'm really excited. I'm happy to be here with all of you. Looking forward to seeing what results come from today. And from there, I think I'm turning it over to Sharon.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming out on a Saturday. I know this means a lot to the company. This is going to mean a lot to you once we get this thing rolling. I'd like to thank the leadership team and Ken for supporting this initiative. It's definitely something that, a lot of us have gone through before, but I think a lot of you are going to see some good in it. And I just keep an open mind and, don't hold back your thoughts. You'll see later on you're going to ask for some information about your job and how things go, and you need to just, give that information to us so that we can make things better as a team, everybody together. I especially want to thank everybody that helped put this together today. It would not be possible without your support, and I do appreciate it, and you know who you are. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. His name is Denny Norman. He's the president and managing director of Norman & Associates. He's also a member of the Joy Company LLC Board of Advisors. His bio is actually in your handout, but I'll read it for you just in case, so bear with me. Denny provides business advisory services for companies in a variety of industries, including manufacturing, construction, medical, retail, and services businesses. He is a serial entrepreneur who has founded and owned 4 separate businesses. His manufacturing business was identified as one of the fastest growing and profitable privately held companies in the U.S. by Inc. 500 magazine. Then he's been in a leadership role in several high-profile community organizations, including chairman and president of the Indianapolis 500 Festival. He has also served as board of director and vice chairman on several corporate boards. Denny is a graduate of Indiana College of Business and Technology, and he's a great person. I've had the opportunity to work with him for the last 2 months getting this together, and I've learned so much from him. and I know you all will too today. Denny, could you please come up?
First of all, Melissa, that was fantastic. You've covered pretty much what I was going to talk about today, so I guess we can just eat and go home. I am just thrilled to death to be here. As Sharon just pointed out, I've worked with a lot of companies, and I've had the privilege of spending a good deal of time with Melissa and Kevin and Flint and a whole bunch of you. I've been out on job sites with you already. Some of you I recognize. I'm just thrilled to death to have Ken here today. I think that just goes to show how important this issue really is, and how much we hope to get accomplished today. And I'm going to repeat some of the things that Melissa said. You probably all know some of us have to hear things 10 or 12 times before it really sinks in. But so I'm going to repeat some of the things 2 or 3 times, just so we all make sure we get locked in on what's going on. But I tell you, I've spent some time with Ken as well, and he told me the history of your company. I've worked with many companies, a lot of construction companies, and the first time I met the leadership team and Ken took me to the airport, I just fell in love with your company. You should be, there's so many people in the world who would love to work with the Joy organization because, I mean, look at this. As Melissa said, they're committed. They're committing a lot of money to help all of you, to help the business. They want to grow it. That's why you're all here today. They do all the right things. They really care about you individually. As a corporation or as a team of people for the corporation, and that's what's so important. And many companies talk about their people's the biggest asset, but here the Joy Company really walks the talk. So I know you're coming up on almost 100 years here pretty soon, right? I mean, there aren't very many companies that's been around 100 years. I mean, not many at all. And by the way, Sharon, now, see, here I go again. I'm going to get off track. So Sharon's my timekeeper, so she's got to shut me off because I get on these tangents because I have so many great stories. But anyway, this is really a great opportunity to beat the competition. And at the end of the day, I've been through this with many companies, and Melissa's right. Your competition is out there finding ways to work smarter, not work harder. I'm going to say this 10 times today. We're not asking anybody to work harder. We don't want you to run. We just want you to get more prepared, have everything you need to do your job. That's what this is all about. And at the end of the day, you'll go home safer, less chance of anybody being hurt. You'll go home today feeling good about all your accomplishments for the day, and you'll go home feeling ready for tomorrow's new opportunities. So with that, let's rock and roll. So I don't know, Ken, I know next to me, you're the oldest in the room, so can you see that?
I certainly can.
How many believe that Ken can see that from the back? Nobody can. So yes, just so you know, the reason I've done all these things that Sharon talked about is because I'm an old man. My next big birthday is going to be 70, in case you're all wondering how old I am. And that video I want you to take seriously, by the way. My son is 45, and I showed it to him. And I'm really pushing, it just scares me to death. The amount of, I think there's 4 times more deaths now caused by texting and being on the phone than by drunk drivers. And it's just a criminal thing. So if I would encourage you to get that, I think I sent that to you on the
We have the
website,
link.
right?
Yep, we've downloaded
So
it.
you can Google that and find it. And I encourage for all of you folks who have teenagers to show that to them. Would you do that?
Yep.
Great. All right. So here's what we're going to do today. First and foremost, we're going to have some fun. I want everybody to talk here today because this is not about me. This is about you. We want to respect each other. I'm not going to read all these. Try not to interrupt. Most importantly, as Melissa pointed out, 2 or 3 of you already have told the truth this morning. My tag's coming off.
I know you are now.
We don't want to criticize. We're going to create a lot of new ideas, and we want some really healthy debate. If you don't agree with something I say, tell me. I'm here to learn a lot as well. We asked why. One of the things I found out, I work with a lot of companies in terms of lean, and lean is just simply eliminating wasted activity. That's what lean is all about. We have lots of fancy words about what lean is, but that's what it's all about. So we ask why a lot of times. Well, why do you do that? And why do you do that? And as a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. So I'm with another construction company, and I went out to the job sites with them, and it was a 4-man crew. So I said, I got out to the job site, and they really struggled just getting organized early in the morning, and you know, what do they need for the day, and how are we going to get there, what are we going to do, and all this. And so anyway, so each one of them gets in a vehicle, and we drive to the job site. So we get to the job site, and I asked the guy, I said, why, and one of the guys just didn't have much to do. He was just sort of standing around, and I said, well, why, what are you going to do today? I don't know, I'm going to do whatever the boss tells me to do. How many of you heard that? So I said, okay, well, why did we bring 4 vehicles? I asked why 5 times, right, before you really get the answer. Now you think about, ask your kids this too, it works great. Well, why did you bring 4 vehicles? Well, because there's, you know, we had to bring 4 vehicles because we had the foreman, and we had the dump truck and the tag-along with the backhoe, and then we had the material, the tool van, you know. Okay, so I asked, well, what are you going to do with these vehicles? Well, why are they all here? Do you need it? Well, no, not really. So I keep asking, well, why? Well, you know what you always get to on the 5th why? Because that's the way we've always done it. Right? It's just the way we've always done it. Well, who told you that? Well, Jim trained Bob, and Bob was trained by Billy, and Billy was trained by Larry. Hell, we've been doing this for 30 years. And first of all, we didn't need to drive 4 trucks. We didn't, it's more of a safety issue. A lot of costs with the fuel, you know what fuel costs. And then we didn't even need, the job was for a 2-man crew, not a 4-man crew. So, you know, that's the kind of thing you say, now why are we doing that? I mean, just why in the world are we doing that? Well, because we've always done that. That's what Melissa talked about, change. We've got to change the way we think of things. So anyway, we're going to be open to change, be a change agent. We're going to keep our promises. If we make a commitment to each other, let's stick with it. And just not forget it for the day. Okay? So, I have a lot of these little ditties. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And we have got to change the way we do things every single day. And for example, how impressive it is that your company is almost 100 years old. Think of all the companies that were at the top of their game, and they thought, we've got this all figured out, and we're just going to keep doing what we've always done. And there's a lot of them. Look at Kodak. Do any of you remember Wang computers? Right? TWA? I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's a list of all these big companies, successful, used to be successful companies. They didn't change. Look at Blockbuster. Aren't they totally gone now? Pretty much. Pretty much. So anyway, we got to change. That's what this is about today. Operation Impact. Next. I can't do 2 things at once, so thank gosh I got Sharon. We're going to be talking about lean, productivity, and one of those Japanese words that you're just going to have to bear with me some of these because you're going to hear it a lot. Kaizen. So what is lean? Actually, we put it up there too, but we're not sure that you can read it all. But Lean is, it's a core definition of lean is to maximize the customer value while minimizing waste or eliminating waste. It is a new way of thinking. Just finding waste is pretty incredible. It is very customer focused, and it is the relentless pursuit of waste. And Sharon was kind enough to put that up there on this wall. Some of you may not be able to read it from the, Mike, I know you can't read it from back there, as old as you are. So, but it says it's a relentless focus on the elimination of waste to ensure all involved, make sure every one of you, to do your job, you have the information, you got the right people on the job, the right skill sets, the right equipment, the right materials, the right parts, the right products to complete and achieve the results for the day. And Melissa already asked you that, how many times do you go through the course of the day and have everything you need to do your job or you don't have any problems? Very seldom, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Productivity is a measure of the efficiency and productivity, and we're going to get into that in a little while. It's the amount of output per unit of input. So it doesn't matter whether you're making widgets, you're making nails, baking bread, they all deal, or putting pipe in the ground, or digging a trench. It's all about measurement, and it's all about the amount of labor it takes, man hours, to produce something. Whether you're Ford, Toyota, General Motors, they have it down to the second, how long each car is in each cell as it moves down the assembly line. Seconds become minutes, minutes become hours, hours become days. So they're trying to shave off seconds. What we're going to talk about today is eliminating the stuff that drives you guys crazy and gets in the way of you doing your jobs every day. Feet of conduit. How much more that you can get done in the same amount of time that you're working already, and it's going to be a lot easier for you. You'll be less stressed out when you go home. Kaizen simply means it's an improvement. It's just simply, I always tell everybody what Kaizen means. We're not trying to, here today and even going forward, as Melissa said, this is a journey. This isn't a sprint. This is all about continuous improvement. And we're not trying to boil the ocean here today. We're not going to try to solve world hunger. We just want to find ways to get a little bit better. So I always say, you know, we're not trying to improve one thing 100%. We're trying to improve 100 things by 1%. That's what turns into the minutes and the hours of the days. And we'll get into that in a little bit later. A Kaizen event or a blitz, as they call it. We're going to figure out before we leave here this morning, with all your input, and I mean every one of you will have a chance to speak up. We are going to figure out a Kaizen event that we're going to do, and it'll be an event. You already guessed mine is. In fact, you can tell the way you're grinning.
He just grins all the time.
Does he really? He's happy about something. Tell me it's great. We're going to find something. It's a 3 to 5 day blitz, and it will be an effort that will. I have this up on the wall somewhere. Yeah. What are the characteristics of the first Kaizen event? Well, let me back up. The one hanging on the right up there. What is a Kaizen event? It's a team approach. It's a 3-day event. It's 5 to 8 people, 5 to 10 people. We will, here this morning, define a problem that will have an effect on almost all of you. We want it to be highly visible, where all of you feel the impact of this event. And we want to, so we're going to brainstorm solutions. We're going to develop a plan. We're going to implement this Kaizen event, and then we're going to measure the success of it. And then we're going to do it, turn around and do it again and get better. Any of your kids have Legos? How many of you play with Legos? There we go. Well, you know what? If you put a Lego set there, well, here's a better example. My wife is always doing this. She brought home a bunch of cabinets that she wanted to put together. The first time I put this little cabinet together, it must have taken me 45 minutes. How long do you think it took me to put the second one together?
20.
How long the third one? I mean, I got it down to like 10 minutes. So it's all about repetition and finding ways to, so every time you do it, and that's what we say, continuous improvement. Once you do something, and if you document it, and you have the steps to follow, the next time you do it, or if you're training somebody, it goes much, much faster. I know what you're all saying right now. Denny, you're such a dipshit. You don't understand.
You had to read instructions before you started.
Well, that's right, that's right. And by the way, we never do the same thing twice, right? I'm here to tell you before we leave today, you're going to find out that 80% of what you do every day is the same thing. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Wow. See, this is an impressive group. You're absolutely right. 80% of what you do every day is exactly the same. And we'll get to that later. So, standard work, that's what this is all about. A written description and prescribed sequence of tasks. Now, I got to tell you something. Where did Ivy go? Oh, she just slipped out. Ivy, you're not in here. Did you see the young lady that set up all this stuff in here today? She does this every day, right? I mean, that's her full-time job. So I asked her a while ago, I said, Ivy, how do you make sure that you don't forget? How do you know what we're going to do? Because, I mean, you do this every day, right? Yeah. I said, well, do you just come in and start, or do you have a check-off list or a plan? You have a plan? Oh, yeah. I said, what do you have a plan for? You do it every day, right? I wish you were here. She said, yeah, I have it every day, but I can't take a chance on forgetting anything. I said, really? Well, show me your plan. This is it. If any of you want to look at it, she's got a plan here. Oh, my glasses. Right here. Thank you, Sharon. She has a plan here, and this is what we're going to talk about today. She has a plan here. Here's Sharon's name. Here's Sharon's phone number. She knows exactly what time. Have breakfast set up at 6:15. Needs to come in here no later than 6:15. She has a list here of exactly, if you want to know what's on the menu, here's a list of exactly what's good. She went through and checked everything out there. Then she's got down here all the, I'm not going to read all these to you. Got a tripod screen, projector cart and power, extension cords. Don't get that. Podium and microphone, 12-channel mixer. I don't know what that is, but I think we have one in here. It's cost you $100, Melissa, so you might want to check if we have one. Oh, is that it back there in the corner? Oh, see, Janice knows. She keeps track of the money. So, but here's a little checkoff list. Now, how many of you of a morning, when you leave the yard or wherever you leave for, how many of you got a list of everything you're going to need for the day? Right? So what happens when you get to the job site?
Sure.
Gossip.
You gotta send one guy back always.
Really? I'm shocked that you come up with that. Every single company I work with says the same shit.
It's
over.
okay, just send the guy back, he'll get it.
Stand up and tell everybody what you just said.
Tell your phone.
No, you just stand up. It's okay. We do this. This is the way. This is what we do. We just get to the job site and say, hey, Nick, did you bring those materials? Garland?
There you go.
What's this Nick on here for?
Just sits on top. It's my nickname.
Now, you don't think I can read that from up there, do you? I'm going to pick on Delroy and make it read this.
That was the idea.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. I got it. So Delroy, that's what we do, right? We get to the job site, we say, well, you know, did you bring that that mix, or did you got that air hammer, or you got that generator, or hey, did you get that gas for that generator? Oh shit, gotta go to the supply house, gotta get some gas. Now I'm getting ahead, Sharon. I get excited. Okay. Do you think the customer would pay you for that? Is the customer standing there watching you? No way. Absolutely no way. That's what we're going to do. So we've got to figure out, folks. We have a checklist. And you know what's amazing? Every one of you already know exactly how to do that stuff, but we're not organized. We don't have a checklist. We don't make sure we know what we're going to have, so we get to the job site and we lose a lot of time, right? Which reminds me, on the very last page, I tell you, this Sharon's awesome, she's so organized. On the very last page, we have a couple of questions for you to figure out, for you to answer. So as I'm talking here today, or this morning, I want you to start making a list of things that just drive you crazy. Things that we really were politically correct here, but things that just piss you off at the job site. Can you relate to that? See, this is good. See, you're figuring this out. So, I mean, things like I get to the job site and well, first of all, I'm knowing behind already. First of all, when I went with some other crews, I went with some roofing crews, and there was 4 crews that I went out with. Do you know 2 of the crews got in the trucks and left, and then they didn't have the address where they were going? What's that?
Must've been hot.
Must have been hot. Yeah, they didn't want to go.
They were just smart.
Yeah, right. They were smart. So they didn't have the address where they go. They didn't know where the dump site was for, you know, the materials. They didn't have a plan. So, and then once they got there, believe this or not, they had to leave and go to Lowe's to get more nails for their air gun, whatever you call that thing. But that's okay. You know, we're busy. Busy. They were busy all day long. Never stopped. But they were wasting time, and the customer didn't pay for it. That's back to Melissa's point. And boy, and she's right. Your competitors are going through the same program we're talking about here today. They're finding ways to figure out how to work smarter and get more work done in the same amount of hours, just like we are here today. So they're all out to beat you. This is for all of you folks that play sports. It's a competitive game out there. 5S, you're going to hear that one too. 5S is simply being organized. It's having everything in its place, having a checklist of where to go, what to do, and making sure that you've got everything. I'm not going to take you through all this because I'm going to try to push along here a little bit. But I have checklists for everything. It's just like Ivy. She's got her checklist. I didn't see a single hand goes up that says you guys have a checklist when you leave. But, and by the way, you're like most people. But many of your competitors are having a checklist because they're going to be more efficient. Just so you have a chance to make fun of me. Excuse me, I had something over here. Oh yeah. In case you want to know, my wife, whenever she and I go somewhere, she starts planning 3 days ahead of time. How long does it take your wife? How long does it take your wife to get ready to go on vacation?
A week.
A week?
2 hours.
2 hours? Well, that's good. I get ready, I pack to come here in about 7 minutes. And so let me say a show of hands. So how many of you, you leave your house, and you're either 50 miles down the road, you're on the way to the airport, you turn to your husband or wife and say, by the way, did you close the garage door? Do you have the plane tickets? Did you turn on the, did you turn off the water? And the whole time you're thinking, oh man. And the longer you start thinking of all these things you didn't do, right? Well, guess what? I have a checklist. I know you can't see this. I'll leave it right here. See, Dennis, I can remember your name. So there's a checklist that I check off when I leave the house. And I have another one at the house that says, do all these things, you know. Stop the mail, all those kinds of things. Now, do I know that? Do I know I'm supposed to stop the mail and turn off the water? Well, sure, but in the rush of getting ready and trying to get it done, I forget it, right? So, have I told you about the importance of checklists? Moving on. How are we doing on time, Sharon? Video. Video? Oh, toast. So we're going to show you a video here. And it's kind of a goofy video, I have to admit right up front. And I know some of you have seen it, but hopefully not many of you. And I try to make, there's Kaizen and Lean Six Sigma, all that really started about 30 years ago with Toyota. And as you know, Toyota, for the other car manufacturers are catching up with it, but they were always known to have the highest quality at the lowest cost. And that's why they are now the #1 auto manufacturer in the world. And a lot of people associate low cost with being cutting corners, cheap. That's just the opposite. They've got it so drilled in, so nailed down. They do Kaizen events every single day, continuous improvement, better, finding better ways to do things quicker, faster, easier. So I'm going to show you a video today that is just, again, it's about eliminating waste and doing things that the customer wants done. Always remember, if you don't remember one thing, or don't remember anything but one thing today, remember this. If the customer were standing there watching you, would he pay you for what you're doing? Think of that.
Question. Wouldn't Toyota the one with the gas pedal?
Yeah.
You didn't mention that part.
Oh, I'll mention that.
Recently.
Who's had the largest number of recalls?
GM.
Why didn't you mention that?
Oh, just saying, right, you were beating up on Toyota, I thought they had a big issue with the gas pedal.
Oh, they all have issues, yeah. They all have issues, no doubt about it. But you know what? I promise you they got it fixed.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. If you have a problem, I'm telling you, they have people absolutely drilled in and focused on it once those problems, every one of them do. And the purpose is so they never have it again. Now, they may have another problem.
Well, GM's got it with the culture about hiding.
Culture.
It's the culture of it.
Hear that, Melissa? Culture. What is culture?
What's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
There you go. That's right. Culture is all about who we are as a company. And the company is nothing more
The people.
than the people. Every one of you provide the culture for the company. I'm going to do the right thing, at the right time, the right way, every day. You know? So anyway, that I'm glad you brought that up. That was a good point. So, so I'm going to keep this really simple. I'm going to show you how to make toast. And what this is about is just because we throw around all these big words. This stuff is not complicated, guys. It really is not. And that's why IBM uses this. The car manufacturers use this. Everybody uses this, so you get locked in. What is it we're trying to accomplish as an organization? We don't want you to work harder, better, faster, safer, and having everything you need at the right place where you can get it and not waste time. So go ahead.
I'm making some toast for my wife. Honey, I made you some toast.
Is it raisin toast?
Toast again here. And how long do you think it'll take you to make toast this next time? 2 minutes and a half? 2 minutes?
4 minutes.
How much?
4. 2 minutes.
Okay, that was 4 minutes and 12 seconds. What did you see to waste? What can you do better this next time? Oh, wait, hold on, one at a time. Charlie? What? Yeah, he couldn't find what he was looking for. He didn't have anything organized. Everything was all jumped together, like most of our trucks are, right? You go to look for something, you dig through it and can't find it, right? Right. Not to mention, when you run out of it, you don't know you're out of it, and that's why you had to go back to the supply house the next day, right? What else did you see?
Put the bread in the toaster instead of sitting it down.
Put the bread in the toaster rather than sitting on the plate. And, yeah, matter of fact, I was working with a drywall company. You know what the most, let's see, how do I say it? The 5 words that are most wasteful at a construction site? Just put it over there. The truck pulls in, loaded drywall. First guy you see has got a Joy vest on. What'd you say?
Where do you want it?
Where do you want it? Shit, I don't know. Put it over there. How many times do you think they moved drywall on average before they got it hung on the wall?
I'll bet
4?
4. I'll bet
5 times. How many times would the customer pay for it? 1. Now, since the customer wouldn't pay for it, we do it, and we could keep doing that every time. What happens when the owner of the company has to bid that work next time? He had to bid it because we always have to move it. It takes us this long because we moved it 5 times. He didn't solve the root cause of the problem. If he figures out and has a plan where they're going to have it, they eliminate it for now. Next time he bid
that sheetrock is going. I'm gonna move it 1 time.
So the next time they have a product, they'll have a plan. When that sheetrock shows up, I want it right there. And now they've reduced their cost. It's easier for everybody. Don't have to. Okay, you got it. What else? Yes.
You could have bought spreadable butter.
Could have bought spreadable. Absolutely. Yes.
Ask your wife what type of bread you want.
Ask your wife what type of bread you
What
want.
do you want?
That's right. What's the customer really want?
Tell your wife you gotta take her on there.
I've been married 45 years. I never did that.
And I'll say he needs a new toaster. Way too long.
He needs a new toaster. You get better equipment.
Set his toaster.
He could have washed those dishes while he was waiting.
Ah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, well, clean the refrigerator.
He didn't ask how many she wanted.
I'm sorry, say what?
He didn't ask how many pieces she wanted.
Didn't ask how many pieces he wants. That's right. That's right. Too much material wasted and had to throw it away. You know, the old saying goes, if you don't have time to do it right the first time, how in the world do you have time to do it over again? Right? Because the customer's not going to pay you for it. What else? Anything else?
Instead of taking it out of the toaster, putting it in the plate, and then picking it back up, he could have just took it out, buttered it, put it on the plate.
That's right.
Took it out.
Picked up the drywall, moved it 5 times. Picked up the toaster, moved it 5 times. And, right.
You could slice the butter while you're waiting for the bread to toast.
Could have sliced or had the spreadable butter. Yeah, absolutely.
Or could have put the butter on top of the toaster and melted it a little bit.
I like that. See, you start thinking about what you do every day. Remember I said we want to solve, we just want to get a little bit better every day, but we got to permanently fix those problems so we don't do it over again tomorrow and the next day and next week, right?
What type of toast would you like?
Wheat.
Okay. How many slices?
Just 1, please.
Very good. All set.
Thanks, dear.
So as we said, that's what they, every corporation that starts out, they play this video because it really hits home to what we want the entire organization to think about. It's a new way of thinking, looking for ways and finding solutions to permanently fix and remove that waste so you don't have it over and over and over every day. Sharon, let's go real quick through the next few slides.
Okay.
And maybe we can get back on schedule here.
Not that fast.
Go to slide
20.
20.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, I'd like for you, as we're having this conversation, you got those last page in front of you, those two questions? I'd like for you to be thinking about things that you do every day that waste your time, because you're going to have an opportunity to, I'm going to ask each one of you to come up with something that you do every day that you think is a waste of time, that frustrates you, and we're going to write it up on the board, and out of that we're going to figure out a Kaizen event and what we're going to do to help reduce your frustrations and get more done every day, okay? So what is 5S? I'll refer back to this video a couple of ways. 5S is simply a process, a method for creating and maintaining a safe, organized, high-performance workplace. It is the foundation of all activities. In other words, you need to have your warehouse or your yard or your maintenance facility. You need to have all the inventory you need, when you need it, where you need it, and you need to be able to have access to it so you can pick it up and go. You should never have to be waiting on any of those kind of things. You should be able to find it very, very quickly. I'm going to go real fast through some of this to make up some time. 5S is all about promoting employee satisfaction. It's standard operations, that list, so I know what I'm doing every day. It enables visual control. I should be able to go in and see everything I need to do my job. And it enables waste identification. Those are the 5 S's. When we do a 5S event, again, it's about a 3-day event. We sort everything. We remove all the unnecessary items. We set everything up, designate everything has a home, everything has a place, everything should be there. We clean it up, make it more organized. It's easier to work. You feel better about working in an organized, clean environment. We standardize it, and then we sustain it. We have a check-off list to make sure that it is in the same position it was when we all agreed that this is the way it should be. So the purpose of the event is to lay the groundwork for productivity in improving a 5S projects and workplace. Go ahead. So I've done many of these. I just finished up one in an operating room, by the way, in an emergency room in a hospital. So all of you were probably thinking, you know, this is just all about field operations or just about my job. It's not. Again, it doesn't matter what business it is. For you, how many administrative folks we have here today? Office folks, whatever? Okay. Well, let me tell you, this is for you folks as well. And for example, I don't know how long it takes you to close your books, but I can assure you, if you did a Kaizen event on closing your books, you'd probably reduce your time by 50%. Same way with the amount of time from the time the work is done until you bill the customer. If you go through a Kaizen event and you eliminate all the waste, you'll cut it by 50%. Same way with, well, I could go on and on, examples. Emergency room. This is an absolutely frightening thought. My nephew, my sister's son, is a physician, and he's the head of a large hospital in Indiana. And I was talking, I'm going to get to this, Sharon, I promise. I was talking to him about this, and he told me a statistic that I told him he was only second glass of wine, so I thought he was not telling me the truth. He said there are approximately 500,000 people every year die in the hospital because of a mistake. You heard that statistic before?
I believe that.
Either they something didn't work, they got too much, they were allergic to the anesthetic, they didn't, something happened. And by the way, those are issues where they should not have died. You're all nodding your head, you've probably heard that statistic. Now, you know what's amazing about that? If you think about that, this really hit home to me. You know this big deal about the airplane crash and 160-some lives were lost? And it's been on the news for days and days. It's around the clock, 24 hours. That's 500,000 people a year is equivalent to a major airline crash every day. 150 people killed every day. Can you imagine what would happen if we saw that? Nobody would fly, right? So my nephew said, Denny, he said, Uncle Denny, whatever you do, don't go to the hospital. I mean, he said, I'm telling you, you're going to get some kind of infection, a disease. They're going to. How many times have you heard about the operator that took the wrong leg, cut off the wrong leg? You know why? You should see when I went into the emergency room, and by the way, we'll be back, and I'm going to go with some of you guys on your job. I'm going to see how you leave your office or leave the yard in the morning. Are you out there fumbling around trying to find stuff? Yeah. You should see them when they come in the emergency room. It's a different doctor every time. They want different utensils, different tools, different equipment. Well, this one needs anesthetic. Anybody seen the anesthetic guy around here anywhere? You know, and then they start asking you while you're laying there about to die, can you give your insurance card with you? I mean, it's a mess. It is a mess.
Yeah, you know why? Because they get paid anyway. You know,
That's exactly right.
A
Now,
small office or something like that.
and the other thing is, most people don't realize how inefficient they really are. So I want you to know, as we talked about, I've been involved with many, many companies, and it doesn't matter whether we're making baling wire in an emergency room in a hospital, you know, putting high-pressure gas lines in the ground, putting in manhole. It doesn't matter what, making cars. It doesn't matter what you do. You got to have a list. You got to know exactly what you're going to do, and you can't forget it every day. For example, honesty here. How many of you have been on the job on the way or driving one of the vehicles, and you got stopped and you didn't have your driver's license? Thank you. How many of you got stopped and didn't have your CDL with you? Thanks. How many of you got stopped and didn't?
Who's this?
No. Names aren't important here. How many of you got stopped and didn't have your, what is it, your health card? DOT. How many didn't have your DOT? Now, here's the deal, though. Every one of you knew you had to have it, right? But you forgot to look. And you didn't have it with you, and it causes a problem. Where'd Ivy go?
Right here.
She's on her checklist.
So, now she works for the hotel, and just to give you an example why it works for every single business, Ivy, I showed him your checklist. Here, I'm going to use she's the one that sets up all this equipment,
Yes,
mics.
I am.
So tell us what you do and how you make sure everything goes well.
Well, I usually have, this is just 2 pages right here. Normally I have something bigger than that because I have to take care of everything from top to bottom and from left to right. So I normally just have a list and whatever, normally it has everything from setup, from AV setup to whatever chairs, tables that needs to be in this room and outside for you to eat and everything like that. So everything is in this list. Everyone have their own section, and mine is actually this section right here. So in my case, I have to make sure everything in this list is in this room. And also there's tiny little notes here, especially for like clients and such like that with her. It says here, please provide audio patch or such like that, or make sure that her projector, her laptop is working, and make sure that she's running before everything starts in your case. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to come work for Joy Company? You could be a big help. You're willing to change, right? Thank you, Ivy. So you see, it's not for just you folks. It's my own here. Yeah, it's for everybody. Everybody. Okay, Joe, you're up. Here, Joe, you want to?
I don't need it. I'm sure I don't.
I'm sure. I've written that to you.
Yeah, everybody knows I probably don't need a microphone. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. Just real quick and in general, there's a couple little exclusions there. But generally, when we're talking about things, and we have to find a way to connect traffic control that we do, manhole inspection, repair, and a few other things that we do. But in general, what does the customer pay us to actually do? Just big terms, general picture.
Finished product?
They pay for a finished product, but what kind of product? What is the product? Okay, we put manholes in the ground. We put manholes in the ground. What else do we do? Okay, the product. Okay, Suzanne said finished product, but it's a product. Which the product could be a T-liner, could be conduit, could be cable. And there's probably a few other things, a gas pipe on a special job, whatever it might be. But in general, that's what the customer pays us to do. Okay? They're not going to pay for us to do a lot of things that we do beyond that. I don't know if I heard anybody say safety, because that's an interesting one. Somebody will say, oh, they pay us for safety. But one of the first things somebody said about our competition was, they're nowhere near as safe as we are, so does the customer really pay for it? Okay, it may not add that much value. Competition to competition, it adds a lot of value to this place as a workplace, the integrity of the company, and ensure we go home safely every day. Okay, so one of the things that we have to do is we talk about when the customer pays us, when the bids are out there. Mike, Dutch, Mitchell put bids together, and they focus a lot on man hours. Typically in the field, what do we typically say? We got a manhole. How do we decide what it takes to put that manhole, or how long we have to put a manhole in? What do we normally say? If we got a manhole to do, it's a 6 by 12, we're casting it in place. What do we give it? We got what to do it?
5 days.
We got 5 days, typically. 5 days, 6 days, 10 days. It's a rebuild. Got a lot of cables. It might be 18 days, 20 days, 21 days, depending on the size and all that. Well, one of the problems is trying to get down and measure a great level of detail. When somebody says you have 5 days, what does that really mean? If you have 5 days and it's a 2-man crew, that's one thing. You have 5 days and it's a 9-man crew, that's very different from a cost side. Very different. So we have to try to approach things from a greater detail and get down into the man hours. Okay? So we've got to ensure that we're down to the point of man hours so that we know that we're measuring a tighter detail, higher level of detail. One of the things with that we have to be sure we're doing is, because as we go through this program and plan, if we're talking about days, it may take us quite a bit longer to chop days off of improvement. But as we're measuring at a man-hour level, we're going to be able to see and identify and appreciate some improvement quicker, faster. Then he talked about seconds, minutes, hours, and then we get into days. So for everybody in man hours, just very quickly, if you have 5 guys on the crew, that crew's working 10 hours a day, that's 50 man hours. You slice and dice that to activities and other things. Okay? One of the things just in general talking about the Kaizen to have a better understanding, and I very quickly associated to the Pepco conduit work, we, in general, the average crew produces about $3,000 a day in revenue. Just quick, rough numbers, big numbers. One of the activities that we perform quite often is building manholes. 98% of our manholes are cast in place. Okay? That typical crew cost for them, in round numbers, is about $2,000 a day, plus or minus, because you have a man extra, you have a guy that might make a little bit more money, you've got one extra piece of equipment, you've got 2 trucks versus 1 truck, this and that, for all the details that change. But one of the things that we have talked about in the process of building manholes, if we're doing cast-in-place manholes, what's the thing we have to do periodically to do those manholes? Every so often. What do we have to do? What do you say? Forms. Build the forms. We got to rebuild the forms. Okay? Now, one of the things that you got to look at is, if we've got to rebuild those forms, how long do those forms typically last? How many holes? 2, 3, okay. Depends on what we're doing. All right, so if you've got to rebuild forms every 3 holes, and we can find a way, so each crew, every time they build three manholes, they got to take time out to rebuild the forms. The time that they're taking to rebuild those forms, revenue goes away. Customer does not pay us to rebuild those forms. Customer doesn't pay it. We have to do it, but they don't pay us. So one of the things that we've been discussing is, what's a better way to help let those forms, make those forms last longer, improve it? Okay? So one of the things the guy was talking about, ensure that they all have a release agent, form oil on them. And if in theory we can get those forms to last 1 more pour, 2 more pours, and that's per crew, let's just say it's 2 more pours. So every time, if we did 10 holes a year, that crew does 10 holes, instead of rebuilding the forms 3 times a year, they're now going to rebuild the forms twice a year. That one crew is going to be back to producing revenue of $3,000 a day. That one crew is not going to spend the $500 to $1,000 just the material cost to do it. So let's say $4,000 times 10 crews doing it, that's $40,000 straight to the bottom line. We haven't done anything but buy a little bit of form oil. Nobody worked any harder. Okay? So that's one of the things that we've talked about, we discussed in an effort to try to make things better, improved, last longer, whatever it may be, right place, right time. The last thing, and jokingly, I was joking with the guys, was Melissa said, and we talked about plans and things like that. Well, somewhere I missed the communication. We were supposed to sit in the back. Okay? So I sat up in the front. But I'm going to take some credit because in the first demonstration of efficiency, I get to finish at my seat the last piece of the talk. No wasted motion, no nothing. Be Frank Joy and our competitors, and that's a joke, it was just cool. Be Frank Joy and our competitors are all the same. Same customers, same contracts, same equipment, same material, same tools, same permits, same restrictions.
Good job, Joe. You know, Joe's absolutely right. The biggest waste of all whether you're in the medical field, government work, whatever it happens to be, is the underutilization of people's minds. I was at a different company about a year ago, and I was going through this presentation somewhat similar to this, and by the time we got to the end, I asked everybody if they had any questions or comments, and one of the individuals, I'll never forget this, stood up and said, you know what, I have been at this company 27 years, and this is the very first time they hired me to use my arms, my back, and legs. This is the very first time I think that they ever wanted to know what I really thought and to use my brain. And that's what we're here for today. You are very, very blessed to have a great leadership team. Melissa and Kevin and Ken in the past, well, I'm still here. But you're really blessed to have a great leadership team. And I'm not taking away anything from them, but I'm here to tell you the reason they, as Melissa said, the reason they have you all here today in making a huge investment now and going forward is because they know that over 70% of all the ideas and 70% of the improvement in efficiency, quality, and safety is all right here in your heads. And that's why we need to spend a little bit of time here this morning to get your juices going in terms of what your thoughts are and where you're wasting time and what we can do about it, okay? So I'm going to do a really quick exercise. I'm going to get off track here, Sharon, in just a second, because I just think this will be a little bit of fun. So everybody got the pen and pencil? I'm going to ask you a question. Don't you do that to me. Now I know why you're up front. You just want to harass me. Okay, I'm going to, now, by the way, this is not scientific. It's just, I just want you to guess at some of this stuff about how long. So I'm just going to ask some questions, and I want you to write down, just guess, about how many minutes a day that you think that is not productive or wasted time when I ask you these questions. Before I start, though, I do want to tell you, again, this is for administrative people as well. I was talking to Sharon every day, and I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday, and she said, we were talking about, she said, I got to print this out. And I talked to her about an hour later, she said, I can't get this damn printer to work. She said, I always had trouble with this printer. So see, Sharon wastes time too. In case you didn't know that, you can ask her later. She wastes a lot of time.
She didn't just say damn either.
So this is for everybody. So here we go. I want you to write down the number of minutes you're going to guess. So from the time you get to wherever you leave, from the time you get out of your car in the morning until you get to the job site, about how many minutes is that?
2 hours.
Oh, don't tell me that. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Next, how much time during the course of the day are you looking for tools? That could be hand tools, equipment, hammers, saws, whatever it is you look for. How many minutes a day? How many minutes a day are you looking for material that you're waiting on, say, waiting for sand or whatever all materials you use? How many minutes a day do you wait on that? How many minutes a day do you wait on someone else? You're waiting on the foreman or the superintendent you're trying to get them on the phone, you're trying to wait for them to give you approval to do something different. Or how many times, so I'll stop there, how many times are you waiting on someone to do something? How many minutes a day are you waiting on a machine or a piece of equipment that you try to use that is broken or doesn't work properly? I hear some giggles out there. You got which one? Which one? How many minutes a day do you The story is, you know, you see a lot of heavy highway workers. And by the way, I want to tell you, just so you understand this is really important. If you're standing around not able to do something, not able to do productive work that the customer is going to pay you for, that is not your fault, just so you understand that. The fault is that we don't have a process in place. Remember the toast? Remember him doing the dishes? It's because we're not thinking about what I can be doing that's productive, as opposed to he could have made the toast and then spend another 5 minutes putting the dishes away. But you do them both at the same time and think of the time he saved. So how many minutes a day do you have to stand around waiting on somebody to do something, or because you can't do anything? Just how many minutes? Okay. All of you, now I want you to add up all those minutes. Add them all up. Okay. Everybody done? I've never done this before. This is just for my life, by the way. How many minutes? Anybody waste more than? Anybody have more than 100 minutes a day? Okay, wonderful. Stick your hands up higher. How many have more than 100 minutes a day? I don't know why I picked 100 minutes. Sharon, you can't get that damn printer to work, right? That's 100. More than 100 minutes. Shout out. How many minutes? Anybody? What's the highest number? Anybody got more than 100 minutes a day?
425.
How many?
425.
425
You
minutes?
said from start when you leave your home, you get to
Yeah.
work, you get off.
Okay.
Total them all.
Okay. So 100 minutes a day. Let's just use that number. I can't do the math. I need who's the math? Melissa, I know you're good. What percent of your day is 100? Let's say it's 120. That's 2 hours. What do they work? You work 8 or 10-hour days? Both.
Yes.
Help me out here. What am I trying?
20 to 25%.
What percent is 100 minutes of your day?
20 to 25%.
20 to 25%. Okay. So we think the opportunity here to improve to beat our competition, just think, I mean, really no shit, really think if we were able to reduce that by even half. Let's say we were able to get done 10% more in the same amount of hours you work by eliminating all these things that get in your way. Think what 10% would do. Who does contracts in here? Mike?
Yep.
So Mike, I'll put you on the spot. So Mike, what would happen, back to Melissa's point today, what would happen if all of you were so good and you were able to reduce your bids by 10% because everybody here was able to find ways to eliminate this, even half of the waste that we think is out there? What would happen to how much more work would you get? What would happen if you went to your customer and said, you know, this is $1 million project, and now we can do it for $900,000. What would happen?
Well, first let me wipe the drool off the corner of my mouth.
Speak up a little bit so everybody can hear.
What would happen is we would be able to not only sign more work, we'd be able to be more selective about the work that we choose. And we'd be able to say, I like this project, this is right in our sweet spot, I'm going to go after this one, I'm going to get this one, and we're going to make a lot of money building it. We would be a more profitable company, and we'd be able to have that. It takes a lot of pressure off. So, and it makes the working, being able to be productive on the things that we do every day. It's a better situation for us to go forward. How much? I'd love to find out.
Very good. So each one of you are sitting there thinking, so why is that? I always ask this question. It's all about me, right? Why is this important to me? I mean, why is it important that, what if we can get more contracts than we get today? If we reduced our cost by 10%, What if we were able to get another $10 million of contracts? Why is that good for you? Anybody? Job security? Excellent. What else? Less stress? Absolutely. What else? I'm sorry? Raises? Yeah. You got, I mean, you know, it's just like your personal business, you know, you can't spend more money than you got, so you got to, you know, if you want opportunity, for me personally, I got to find ways to help the company make more money. Otherwise, I can't do anything, right? What else? How many in here wants job opportunities to grow the company, to become go from a technician to a foreman to a superintendent? A lot of hands, right? How are you going to do that? The opportunities will exist if we can grow the company. Because if you can hypothetically double the size of your company, get twice as many contracts, and I know you can. I know you can. We're going to get there. Then guess what? You'll need probably twice as many foremen, twice as many superintendents, and that's what's in it for every one of you individually. So you have a personal stake at helping the company reduce this waste, because to you personally, it provides you opportunity. I want to show you a 4.5-minute video of what we talked about this morning, and I think this with the toaster and all the other things you've seen, this will really lock into what we're trying to do. So go ahead.
If your home was on fire, you would want to know that the fire department was using the absolute best procedures to get to the fire and to fight it with the best tools. You would expect that every person on the team understood their role and could execute the proper steps at the right time and place. You would expect that everything they needed was in its proper place on the truck and in working order. Furthermore, you would want to know that they could access their tools and equipment with the absolute minimum of wasted time and motion. While matters of life and death motivate the fire department, you should realize that your company is also in a fight for survival in the marketplace. The principles that the fire department apply to their job are exactly the same principles we have been describing in this 5S workshop. When tasks are performed in your factory, you want the work to be done in the best possible sequence with the minimum amount of wasted motion and time. You want the tools and components to be right at the point of use. You want the sequence of assembly to be the best possible and then have it performed at that optimal manner each time. This is the focus of the next step in the application of 5S. The fourth S of the 5S system refers to standardize. In the context of 5S, standardize, or standard work, means that we find the best combination of people, methods, materials, and machines to minimize waste and then ensure that work is conducted the same way every time. When the work area is organized and well laid out, people perform better. This leads to higher output, better quality, and lower costs, and this is the goal of 5S. Standardize means that we have created conditions which make it obvious when deviations from the standards occur. Here we see some hand tools organized on a bench, but there is not enough information to tell us if a tool was missing. How can we create visual conditions that make that information clear? This example illustrates the point. This simple block was made to hold punches. The tabletop was marked with tape to show where the block should be. That is a good example of setting things in order. However, if the block is removed, I would not know exactly what was in that spot without the labels that we show in this picture. The labeling is the fine detail needed to detect deviations from the standard condition. In the area of material handling and storage, we can see how standardization can reduce waste in the material handling process. We have not just organized and painted lines, but we are able to define standard and consistent work steps. With an organized and visually obvious limitation to material quantities, we can easily check the status of material and reorder as necessary. It is possible to establish standard work routines where people can make quick and accurate decisions. This also applies at the workstations, where material staging locations marked on the floor prevent the unnecessary accumulation of material around the workstation and thereby reduce wasted motion and waiting time. You cannot begin to establish standardized work processes without a good solid 5S effort with respect to sorting, setting in order, and cleanliness. But once you have stabilized the work area, as you see with this tooling setup bench, you can now define the steps involved in presetting, you can train the people in the best methods, and then expect the work to be done in the best way every time. This creates an environment where production output can be defined, measured, and analyzed. You know what you should accomplish every hour of the day, and if you don't achieve that, it should be very obvious where the deviations occur. This is what drives continuous improvement. Success with the implementation of 5S is what leads to an environment where you can use the kind of team improvement board seen in this picture. Here it is possible to set a standard for output and to measure actual performance on an hourly basis and have deviations clearly visible so that they can be acted upon by the team to implement continuous improvement. So why is standardized so important? We could say that this is the real goal of your 5S effort. Anything less makes 5S just a fancy name for housekeeping. The goal of your lean efforts is to improve company performance. Your employees will perform better with less stress and produce higher quality when the work area is clearly laid out and the processes are clearly defined.
Actually trained, they go up to the fire truck and they find this stuff with blindfolds on. Because in the middle of the night, it could be pouring rain, the truck is covered with smoke, and it's midnight, and they got to go find the tools that they need to work with. Let me ask you, how many of you could blindfold, go to your truck, and find the tool you're looking for? You can't? Good. That's wonderful. That's what we need to get to. So now, and there's a lot can be done. The fire truck doesn't have anything on there that they don't need to fight a fire truck. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go around the room. I'd ask you to write down things that waste your time. And Mike and Melissa, and maybe even Sharon, we're going to try to, here's the goal. We're going to try to get all of your ideas, and then we're going to try to put them in some major buckets. We don't know what those buckets are yet, but we'll figure this out as we go. And we're going to try to do this, and with the ultimate goal of figuring out what is it you as a group think will be the most important thing we can do to make your job better for the most people for every day, okay? So again, yeah, so that's what we want to do. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to call on you to give us your idea. And then Melissa, and all of us going to help if there's we're going to have duplications. So if we get to the point where somebody's already put something up there and that's the same as yours, just say pass and we'll go to the next person. So we're going to make this quick. Okay, next. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree. We could maybe have the laptops at B. Frank Joy as opposed to going to step code and 69 months.
Okay. Okay.
Coordination with okay. Back around from different crews. They're utility trucks. You got some of them that you can't find nothing because it's a ball of spaghetti.
There you go.
You got some trucks that are neat and organized, and it's not that you can just go there and find things. Some guys, trucks you just don't even want to go in.
So it's tools, back to tools, truck organization, 5S'ing the trucks, getting that fire truck organized.
Hiring other people. I go to a lot of multiple job sites every day.
Okay.
So just being able to have them in order, like for how far away, that way it'll cut down on driving time, fuel, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I guess some of the equipment,
okay.
breakdowns on equipment, stuff like
okay.
that.
Okay.
People not turning in their packing slips, and if they do turn them in, not writing the correct job number or PO number on them.
Who doesn't do that? Nobody. Look. Carlos.
Job inspections. Sometimes we wait too much to
go and inspect the job site. For example, where we are right now, we are ready with the conduit to pour the concrete, but we have to wait like to the next day or 2 days later. So
You
that's
waste a
part
lot
of litigation.
You waste a lot of time?
Exactly, a lot of time.
Wow.
Specific in the place where we are right now.
Wow, okay.
What are you waiting on?
The job site, inspection.
Inspection,
Inspection,
job
okay.
site inspection.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Communication between different departments needs to be more organized and passing on information because the information keeps getting lost and we have to go back and forth. So that wastes a lot of time.
Not my job, lack of deadlines, that kind of thing. Okay? Everybody got it? Okay, Vernon, I'm going to let you lead. Okay, this whole row, go. Just run by, I don't care what.
They're gonna come right past it.
Well, Sharon, it's clear you're not getting your printer fixed.
It's okay. I think that was more important.
All right. Well, first of all, it's clear we have a winner over here, and it's clear that you all have collectively identified that your biggest frustration is not having the materials, not having the tools you need, getting out of the yard of a morning, having a pre-job checklist. So when you leave the yard of a morning, you've got everything that you know you need to do your work all day long, and you don't have to stop and go anywhere. I'm not going to take the time to count these because we're on a tight schedule, but
I got the number up there.
I'm sorry?
I got the number up there, a lot.
A lot. There you go. So that will be, since you guys all got your input and identified what you want to have happen, Melissa said that will be the first Kaizen event, and we'll, as a group, get started on figuring out how to get that done, and we will be asking some of you to participate, you know, all the way from some administrative folks, field staff, and everybody else. And Melissa promised she's going to be right out there with her jeans and boots on, and she's going to be helping us as well. I'm not promising Kim will be there, but anyway, that's it. You've all done a fit. What's that, Kim? So, excellent job. We got through a lot this morning, and I appreciate it. And now,
If you haven't met Ken Joy, I know Eric, you may not have met him. If you all haven't met Ken Joy, grab a second while you can. Thank you all for coming. Be careful driving home. No texting, no cell phones while you're driving, and we'll see you Monday.
thank you, everybody.